Superman was created because of the Depression, you know, to give people hope. You know, truth, justice, the American way, baseball, apple pie. It's an American thing, and it's been taken by the rest of the world, you know, as a positive role model. And it's the symbolism of what Superman represents. We don't worship it, but at the same time, it's nice to have a hero. You know, when people first get into journalism and newspapers, I mean, Clark Kent or Lois Lane are the two characters that they most associate with. So, I mean, that kind of spurred it open, and it's always good news. You know, it's always fun to do. With all this stuff about the economy and everything else, you know, it's just bad news. It's kind of a breath of fresh air when you can talk about, you know, the guy that flies and the good old blue Boy Scout and the Superman statue and what it does and the people that come here day and night. We get probably 200 people a day come here and pose with the statue.
The city was actually formed in about 1839 by a gentleman by the name of McBean. He was actually one of the founding fathers here. It was actually, when it first started, it was Metropolis City, not Metropolis. And then in 1972, we actually, through DC Comics and things of that nature, we officially became the official city birthplace of Superman.
Yeah, I was about 5 years old, and I watched the old television series starring George Reeves, and my first thing I got was a lunchbox when I was 5 years old, and then the madness continued throughout, you know, different holidays and things like that, where I got kind of hooked on Superman. So everybody kind of contributed to that, and I started collecting at an early age. So we didn't have the internet back there. So, you know, when I started reaching my teens, we put ads in newspapers and trade papers, to go to conventions and things like that. And it was a lot of fun for me. I got well known in California, and then soon to be worldwide. When the Superman movies came out starring Christopher Reeve, DC Comics asked me to, and Warner Bros. Asked me to help promote the movies using my collection and taking it different places. So I had a mobile Superman museum for 15 years actively before I came here and did this. In going through my other museum, you'll see that it extends way beyond Superman. From television and movies, including Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe, Angelina Jolie, Pamela Anderson. Did I say Pamela Anderson? And Pamela Anderson, and then there's a whole robot section, famous monsters of filmland, and you've got the Justice League of America, John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, Humphrey Bogart, Clark Gable, Three Stooges, Houdini, Jimi Hendrix. There's just a whole lot of Hollywood here at Americana Hollywood.
And I remember specifically the first day Mr. Hamrick actually came to town. I was in private business here for 30 years prior to getting into politics, so I did meet Jim Hamrick within probably the first 2 or 3 days that he was in Metropolis.
And this was Metropolis, which was a good place for what I've collected over the last 50 years. And so I brought the Superman collection here so that it would have a permanent place.
Really, the people of the city of Metropolis thought Jim a little strange.
When I first came to Metropolis, as far as promotions and so forth, not really geared up. This was a coal town.
Jim has changed a lot. He has kind of slowed his pace down to a little bit more of a southern attitude that we have here. Not quite as high stream, as hustle bustle. He actually came from Los Angeles, California, so it was quite an adjustment for Mr. Hamrick.
So that was a lesson in life for me. Quite the culture shock.
I remember in the back, I think I was in grade school at the time, that all the talk happened about making Metropolis the home of Superman. It was a pretty exciting time. And when the Superman movie came out, starring Christopher Reeve, the town got back behind the Superman character again, and it's been going strong ever since. The Chamber of Commerce is the organization in Metropolis that has the contract with DC Comics. And we do have an agreement with them on how Superman is used in Metropolis. So we do have to be careful about that. We take that very seriously, and Superman is always shown in a good light and in a positive way.
I always watched the old Superman series when I was a kid back in the 50s. But it does bring a lot of business here.
we're getting more people to stop at our gas stations and restaurants just on a whim because of the Superman statues here. So it does help.
I would be willing to say that there's at least 1,500 people monthly that go that come through the city of Metropolis that we know about, that actually go to that statue and take pictures and things of that nature.
In my business, I do pick up on the tourism.
You would be amazed at how many people stop at that Superman's statue.
So we had to come see Superman.
All during day and late into the night. You see a lot of people, so I think it's been a plus.
As far as how Metropolis is doing in the current economic times, you know, we're suffering like everybody else in certain ways, but then in other ways I think we are growing and getting tourists to come in that perhaps don't have the money to take the trip to Disney World or somewhere else like that, so we get more regional visitors coming to Metropolis.
See the statue, get our picture taken, do the touristy thing. Awesome. You betcha. We're all over the town. Saw a thing that just said Dippin' Dots, want to do that. Check out local restaurants. I asked the guy at the motel, what's a good place to go? No, we're here doing the whole Superman thing.
It has been good for the city of Metropolis. It brings a lot of revenue in, and it is very rewarding as far as me being mayor to see the excitement, the participation of the community and things of that nature.
Before I used to dress up as Superman. I was one of the, back when I was several pounds lighter and could wear spandex. Now it's not, wouldn't be a pretty sight. They would shut the event down if I got in spandex today.
So in coming to Metropolis, bringing a museum to Metropolis, it kind of runs everything full circle, because I brought it all here, not just the stuff, but the stars and the concept of it and the spirit of it, which is very important. Now, you won't go a day without seeing somebody local here wearing a Superman t-shirt, you know. And like I say, we get visitors 200 a day coming in here from all over the world.
It does well for the community, I would think. So I hope they don't change anything. I mean, I think it's great. Maybe it'll bring in more people. So
For the economy, I think we're doing quite well for a small community.
We definitely, it's a backbone for the tourism industry here.
Business around here with the economy now, this is the best year I've ever had. Now, I've been here 17 years, and this is the best we've ever had. We got the signs on the interstate, we did the travel channel, a few things like that don't hurt, but it was really surprising to me that we actually did so well during these lean times. What I try to do here is to create an atmosphere for families to come in and have a good time and remember the yesteryear, you know, the baseball, the apple pie, you know, Superman, and with the small town, the charm of a small town like Metropolis was only 7,000 people in it. There's a lot to be said about that. 10 years is to slow down at a pace that people around here could understand. You know? So I always try to stay a step ahead of the game, but being from Los Angeles and coming here is like, yeah, major culture shock, but at the same time, good place to raise your kids and just slow down a little bit and be able to enjoy life a little better than